Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Studio Series number 60. This is Constructicon's Scrapper. He's one of the few remaining pieces needed to complete the Devastator combiner, so we're getting there. We're almost there. He's new Voyager class toy, obviously from the Revenge of the Fallen film. And this is the first full-size Scrapper toy from the movie series that we've actually received, so pretty cool there. Now, if you've seen my reviews before, you know how this goes. We're going to take a look at the toy's packaging, open it up, we'll look at the instructions, and of course we'll be seeing Scrapper himself in both his vehicle and robot modes. Naturally, I'll be doing at least one group shot today, and then at the end of the video, I'll give my final thoughts. So Scrapper comes in your standard Voyager packaging. Got this nice render of him on the front. You can see on mine, the plastic here is cracked, broken a little bit, and just kind of came that way in the box, so I guess some rough handling occurred in the mail. Right here, just a close-up of his face, which I think is the same render. Looks like it. On the back, you have his renders, which are noticeably more bright than the final product, and I'm glad they don't end up being quite that bright yellow. It would look kind of silly. Here you have an image of him in front of his backdrop. It's called the Pyramid Desert Battle. And then he's got a little blurb here. It reads, "The Desert Sands Quake is Constructicon Scrapper combines with his comrades to form Constructicon Devastator." And that's just the same one all the Constructicons have. Now, lastly here, you can see he takes 36 steps to transform. So he's very complicated. And it may or may not be a good thing, depending on how smooth the transformation is. My stance is I always like them complex and interesting, but they need to be intuitive, right? You have transformations that it's just impossible to figure out what you're supposed to do, or you have parts getting in the way of each other. It can make it not worth it. So we'll see how this goes. And then on this side, you have your standard image of Devastator's face that all the Constructicons come with, as well as a symbol of his face right here, where you normally just have a faction symbol. And really, that's about it. Here's the instruction book, and it appears that they're taking a new approach to these. Instead of having the render just take up like the entire front of it, they've relegated it to about half the space, and then having the bottom side for like some sort of like safety or legal mumbo jumbo stuff. Not really a fan of that. We open this up, and it just gets right to the transformation. Wraps all the way around to the back, and shows you how to get to his vehicle mode. And then over here, you have the transformation from vehicle to arm mode for Devastator. This shows you how he's going to connect to Scavenger. And then just a quick little diagram of where he goes in the overall thing. All right, here's Scrapper's vehicle mode. It's a front-end shovel construction vehicle. And it's not very accurate to how it appeared in the movie. I guess when they were prioritizing, either the robot or the vehicle, they kind of lean toward robot. Now, the vehicle's not bad looking, per se, it just isn't quite the same type of vehicle from the movie. Anywho, though, it is pretty neat, very beefy. It's got these big old wheels, which roll very, very well. There are no clearance issues here, which makes me very happy. And his shovel actually can move up and down a bit. Lifts up through a combination of these arms on the outside and the inside, and goes up that far. And it can rest all the way down, but doing so, it actually kind of lifts up the front wheels a bit, and they don't roll, so you want to bring it up just a little bit, get off the ground, like you would a real front-end shovel. And other than that, yeah, just a lot of mechanical details. Got these kind of turbine-looking things going on, which don't really make sense for the vehicle, but they look cool. These exhaust pipes right here. And I like it. Underside, not too bad on the kibble. The only thing is you got his little flail or mace attachment thing just kind of hanging out underneath the shovel. Not a huge deal. If anything, it keeps it from lowering too far. Yeah, overall I like it. I think it makes for pretty decent, pretty convincing construction vehicle. Holds together well, no parts popping off. And like I said, it rolls like a dream, so that makes me very happy. All right, let's do the robot transformation. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to detach the sides of his shovel from the center part. Pull them off. And come around to the back and detach his rear wheels, like so. Now, let's go ahead and bring these out and kind of away. And what you want to do, lift these, or you want to, bend these down, bring the shovels like past them, and then bring them back up like so. Get them kind of out of the way. Something here, like so. And now these are all going to kind of fold into themselves. So we're going to bend part of the shovel back, fold everything down, like that. Same thing here. And now there's a tab here and a slot right there next to the wheel. Make sure they plug into each other nice and firmly. Gonna help put the leg together. There you go. Alright, minor step here, but is important. You're gonna take this piece, which is the combiner port, and you're gonna flip it all the way down. Listen to that. Nice beefy ratchet in there. It's gonna be good for all the weight the Devastator has to support. So, good to know it's not gonna be weak. All right, come around to the front, you got his arms here. We're gonna go and push this panel up onto the top of the shovel. Lift his arms up a bit. And now this little cockpit area, lift that up and untab it from the arms so you can separate the arms. So they separate here. Pull them out and away. This thing, you're gonna bring that first little hinge point down and then bring the rest of this up. Push it nice and flush. All right, let's fix his legs, get him standing up. So what you wanna do is you take your little shovel pieces here and just bring them up till they're sitting just kind of flush against the wheels. Should kind of pop into place. Then you're gonna rotate them around at the knee. That's gonna get him in a position where you can just kind of stand him up, get him ready to go. Now, this whole piece here is gonna flip down and just kind of fold up into his back, like so. You want to plug his shoulder panels into it, like that. You're gonna pull his chest panel down, if it lets you. There you go. Flip his head out. In there pretty snugly. Flip the panel back up. Alright, and then just get his arms kind of worked out here. Go ahead and straighten out the little ball joint thing. Turn this around. Flip this out. And then you can have his claws come out too. And here we go. This is Scrapper's robot mode. And it's awesome. I love this. Very, very alien looking. Kind of reminds me of a very stylized Japanese mech kind of thing, but just with a more realistic spin on it. You know, it's a mechanical innards showing. And it looks really, really cool. I think it's a fantastic design. And it kind of blends a few different designs for this character between the movie design, the toys that have been produced, and this just does a pretty good job of emulating his movie design for the most part. He's got kind of the key things here. He's got his little claw hand. He has the mace hand, which is supposed to be able to detach on a chain like a flail, and this should actually be able to open, but sadly it's just one solid piece, which is a shame, but I'm not surprised. You don't want the toy to be too busy because this also has to turn into a part of a combiner. As far as articulation goes, he's got quite a bit of it. He has this neck piece, which can go down a little bit if you want to look down. And then his head is on a ball joint, which is also on a hinge. So it can move around on the ball joint, twist and do all that, and then the hinge can just kind of move back and forth. You got hinge and swivel combo for the shoulders, so they're nice and sturdy. Got a bicep swivel. He's got double jointed elbows, which is nice. He does not seem to turn at the waist at all. Yep, nope, no waist articulation. But his hips do go up, and they can go out a bit on these panels. He has a thigh or really knee swivel. The knees bend, and the feet, they don't really articulate. If you do move them around, you won't be able to balance well. So you kind of just have to settle for the natural positioning. Now, I don't know. What do you guys think? I think he's gorgeous. Definitely up there as far as one of my favorites when it comes to Constructicons anyway. Here's the mandatory group shot with the thus far assembled Constructicons. Only one we're missing now is Overload. And you can see there's getting to be a lot of yellow in this group shot. And it'll be even more so when the inevitable Skipjack gets released and unceremoniously replaces Rampage over there. Sorry, buddy, I just need my screen accurate Devastator. You're gonna have to go. Alright, and here is the promised preview of his arm mode. And I was surprised that there's very little actual transformation involved here, going from the vehicle to the arm mode. Definitely the least so out of all the Constructicons I've worked with so far. I mean, really all you're doing is repositioning his combiner joint, lifting the cockpit up, flipping the outsides of his shovel around, and then straightening out the middle of his shovel, and that's it. I mean, that's the only real difference. Oh yeah, then this thing comes up for some reason. I'm not actually sure why. I don't see it doing anything, but it does. Flip that out. So yeah, a little anticlimactic, not very exciting, but that is Devastator's right arm. And I think that's going to wrap it up for Scrapper. He's a very fun little transforming robot, and despite the fact that he has, what was it, 39 steps for transformation, I think, supposedly very complicated, it was very intuitive. It was actually a lot of fun to transform him. It wasn't frustrating. Everything pegged together so well. I didn't have any issues with like panels trying to pop off or misaligned wheels. So I think they really knocked it out of the park with this guy. And like I said before, this is the first time we've received a full-size figure of this toy. The only other options were a tiny little Legends class toy or a non-transforming version of him that was just part of a Devastator set. So I love it. I think they did a fantastic job with him. I like the overall looks of him. It's very alien, but also kind of steampunk. He's got like the exhausts coming off his shoulders and all that. It definitely reminds me of some old like mecha cartoons I've watched in the past. Having the whole claw for one hand and then flail for the other is really neat. He's very heavily armed. And I don't know, just everything on him feels good. The joints are tight, but not too tight. The combiner port, when you click it is nice and crisp. Everything holds together very, very well. There's no floppiness. So I personally very highly recommend this toy, just either as a standalone or as part of, your Constructicons or your Devastator. He's just really good. But that's enough of my singing his praises. Told you what I think of him, so now, what do you all think? Do you also find him to be a great toy? Or do you find him more lacking? Either way, I'd love to hear what you have to say in the comments section. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to toss it a like. If you want to see more like it or any of my other videos, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. And thank you for joining me for this look at the new Constructicon Scrapper. And with all that said, I will see you next time.